There isn't a day that goes by where you can't pick up the newspaper, turn on the television, and not hear the phrase September 11th. Now, for most of us, that's still a very chilling phrase to hear. But for the families, it's a whole different experience. They can never escape it.
The way that Jeff died and the way that these other people died is just so unimaginable. It's a bad Hollywood movie with a very sad ending. And unfortunately for us, it's real life. There are examples every day of how the rest of the world has managed to move on, and 9/11 for us lives on as though it happened yesterday.
It would be a lot easier if my wife's plane just, crashed and she died. As horrific as that sounds, it is. Now you add on the fact that it's the largest tragedy that ever happened on American soil. It's very difficult to die a public tragic death. I mean, as I've come to find out, because it never goes away.
But it just became clear that this was a bigger event than just, my mom passing away from cancer. I mean, this was huge. The legal sort of implications that came from it. We had to do things like the DNA, and we had to get into New York and give our samples. And I mean, it was just overwhelming.
I didn't know what I needed. So it was like a chicken and an egg kind of thing. But the Mass 9/11 Fund let me talk and then figured out what my needs were with me and worked with me to help stabilize my family.
I had found a home, that I had found a safe haven, a lifeline, probably a word that you will hear to describe the Mass 9/11 Fund all the time would be lifeline.
And the Mass 9/11 Fund really stepped up to the plate to make a difference in people's lives, not just financially, not just emotionally, but the whole package.
They've asked people, is this something you want to participate in? How much do you want to participate in it? Is this something that will make you feel comfortable? What do you want to do? And addressing you, the individual, realizing that there's a whole large group of people, but each person has an individual want and need and desire.
In the confusion after 9/11, families in Massachusetts were faced with so many different needs, so many different obstacles, and no one place to go where they could have all of their needs addressed, ranging from financial planners, legal services, services for their children, psychological services, respite services. There was no one place where people could go, and what we felt at the 9/11 Fund was that this would be the place that would be essentially, you could go and get all the services that you needed, and that we would be helping you through a process that could be very, very bureaucratic.
The Mass 9/11 Fund, more than any other organization I've ever been involved with, really listens to the families and tries to meet the needs. Rather than, as unfortunately most social service agencies, we have a mission, this is our program, and we will fit you into whatever slot we can fit you into. We didn't fit anyone into the slot. We didn't have any slots.
And unfortunately, early on, I mean, there was no resources here in Boston. Everything seemed to be out of New York, New Jersey, and elsewhere.
We saw corporations in Boston sending very significant checks to the New York charities. We expected, as did the families, that some of it would make its way back here, and that wasn't happening.
My first response was there was somebody local, there's somebody in Boston. We didn't have to go to New York, and we're not from New York, so they don't know who we are, and they were hit so hard by so many people that they had all they could do with the New York people.
I was one of those people who thought I could do it all, and I was one of those people who thought I didn't really need help. But I really did, but I didn't really know that I needed it, and I wasn't willing to probably be as vulnerable and show that I needed it.
What they did differently that other agencies did not do is you didn't have a 20-page form to fill out. They didn't assume what you needed. They didn't try to just throw a check on top of it to make it all better. They listened to families and pulled together services and financial help to meet the needs of families that other agencies were not meeting.
9/11 Fund was kind of my saving grace. You guys brought me up to the front and said, feel comfortable to cry, it's okay. I think that was the best meeting for me. You know, I found out so much information. And the day later, they actually found out they found my dad's body, his entire body. And it was right after that meeting. It was so strange how it worked out.
Putting events together for the kids to get together and for them to see each other, and then for us as adults to see each other socially and just relax and just be goofy and then also talk business at the same time. It's a little bit strange at times when you see the kids playing and, you know, 2 5-year-olds are sitting next to each other and they talk about, well, how did your dad die? And then how did your dad die? Oh, you want to go finish the bowling? Okay, let's go finish the bowling. And you know, that's how it goes for them.
I just think the ongoing support and sort of giving us a sense of community, providing things like tickets to Celtics games, I mean, whatever it is, but just keeping our relationship going. I mean, you guys have really acted as the middlemen to bring us all together, and I mean, I'm hoping all the other families feel the way I do, but it's been fantastic.
I think we stood together as a community. We listened to the families. We still are listening to the families. I hope we can listen to the families tomorrow and understand what their needs are, gather our resources, gather our strengths, make the road just a little bit easier.
At the board level, that was something we tried to remember from time to time, and particularly encourage our potential donors not to assume that after 6 months or 2 years that the need for their services would go away.
We're working on training for people who want to go back to work. We're dealing with mental health services, with long-term needs, continuing to meet whatever financial needs are out there for people. I don't know where it's going to go.
Every person that's been involved with my family since the day Mass 9/11 Fund came off the ground, I am proud to call them my friends. I'm proud to have them be a part of my family. I don't know what we would have done without them. It's true. I would not be sitting here today if it wasn't for the Mass 9/11 Fund. That's it.